Welcome to Takeology with your three boys in the lab so you can do the cooking. I hope you're having a good day. And I told Matt this yesterday. Maybe we should change it to the two boys cooking because we can't seem to get the whole team together. We're missing Matt, but we have my boy Avery Roden in the building. How are you doing today?
Man, been busy. This has been a busy life. I mean, all three of us live a busy life, but this last 2 weeks seem more busy. But hey, always blessed to have this life. Never take it for granted. Just a good time. Good time.
Another day to live and breathe, right? You know what I mean?
Another day.
Another day of football, baby. We got some football going on right now. Vikings versus the Rams. Kind of a good game, honestly. I had the Vikings winning this, so I hope they pull through. Because that's I don't know. I like the Vikings vibe. I like them this year. I don't know how you feel about that, but I'm a fan, honestly.
I'm not a fan, but I also really like the Rams because
Yeah.
just an under. I mean, they're 2-4. Seasons on the line. I don't know. Maybe I want the Rams to lose so that Cooper Cup might get traded to Pittsburgh. Maybe I can see that happening.
Ooh, that's kind of a cool jersey for him to be wearing, honestly.
But no, I like the Vikings. These are both two good teams. I don't mind either one of them. But Jay Jetta's a dog. But I like Matthew Stafford's a dog. I've always
Oh,
liked Matthew Stafford.
through and through, baby. Oh, what a
Yes,
good guy.
sir.
What a good quarterback, dude. What a good quarterback. I love me some Matthew Stafford. He's
Did
underrated.
you see that? Man, did you see that play he had earlier in the game when he threw the touchdown to Cup? One guy tried to drag him down. He dipped under, and he was like, "Ah,"
I
dot
did
to
not
Cooper
see
Cup
it, but
back
I
in.
need to go back and look at that because he's just
Absolute dot to Cooper Cup.
he's underrated. Truly, I think like he throws a good ball. I mean, oh my goodness, I love me some Matthew Stafford. He does have him a Super Bowl, so
And I'm happy he got a Super Bowl. I think he's a
yeah.
good enough quarterback that he deserved. He'll probably end up as a Hall of Famer down the road. He's not like a first ballot right when he gets out. But I've always liked that's just a side note. I know it's crazy, but I always like Matthew Stafford. I didn't like Aaron Donald because he stole Defense Player of the Year from T.J. Watt a couple of times, but this is what it is. It is what
So
it
did
is.
Miles Garrett, but
Man, hey,
and,
word on the block is he's on. There were talks that he was in trade discussions, so I don't know where he'd end up, but that was word on the street. But who knows where I heard that from? No different than Matt's Twitter source today. For those that don't know in the podcast, Matt sent us a text today saying the Chiefs were in talks for another wide receiver. When asked
ooh,
where his sources were, he said, "Trust me, bro."
Twitter, right? Come on,
Twitter.
X. What are you talking about?
I'm a Twitter guru.
Dude, I might as well. I could have told him that. You know what I mean? Lord.
Yep.
Speaking of some Chiefs and some receivers, though, good segue there. Mr. DeAndre Hopkins is now. We'll get into our lab report. He is now a Kansas City Chief. Now, Avery, I'll pose this question to you because as soon as I got the news, I was a fiend, right? And I picked this boy up as fast as I could. Do you think DeAndre Hopkins is a valid fantasy option? I mean, kind of, I feel like an obvious question, but the Titans just are dog doo doo in their quarterback position. I mean, mayonnaise Will Levis is not the answer. Do you think with Patrick Mahomes, though, and this team that DeAndre Hopkins could be like a top 10 receiver?
So you're not gonna believe this, Alex. You picked him up at 6:30 in the morning. We don't do
Correct.
a fab. We need to start doing a fab, free agent budget. That's what we need to start doing after this year, if we're gonna get serious. But you picked him up at 6:30. You're not gonna believe this. I woke up at 5:30 for some reason, and I saw the news and I said, "Nah, I don't want
No
him."
way.
And I went right back to bed. Went right back to bed. I saw maybe it's because my phone blew up at 5:30 in the morning. Like he's going to the He hadn't even went to the Chiefs yet. It was just rumor.
Rumors, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, "What's going on?" But you picked him up. I I think he's gonna be fine. Part of the reason I didn't pick him up, I probably should have. But my problem with it is you get guys. He's gonna be the number one. But this offense doesn't really need an alpha, right? I mean, they do for the playoffs, but right now, Gray was the leader in reception yards last week. It wasn't even Travis Kelsey, and Juju Smith's out, And I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm the biggest Chiefs fan. I don't know all the receivers or everything, but I know they didn't have good ones. When you got Sky
Justin
Moore
Watson.
and,
Yeah.
Justin Watson.
Lord
But
no.
they needed a better receiver. But this team, I don't think is built around like the pass raid right now. They're just running it down to people. They got a good offensive line. Kareem Hunt's running the ball really well. And really, they don't need an alpha. I think the problem is, and for me personally, you're going to look at DeAndre Hopkins some weeks, and he is going to have good weeks. He's going to have like, I heard it somewhere like 6 for 64 is like what he's going to get most of the time, and makes perfect sense. He's not the deep threat he was. He's older. They have Xavier Worthy for that, but if you need a 10 points per game guy, he's probably going to do that. I'll be shocked if he doesn't do that. However, I don't think he's going to give you the boom because in the red zone, it's Travis Kelce, it's Kareem Hunt right now. I think those two guys
Well,
are
Cole
always
Hardman even.
well, and then they're going to get it. They like getting it to Xavier Worthy on the little pitch handoff that works really well. So I don't know about a red zone threat, but definitely like a 6 for 64 type of guy. But my problem with it is I told you this before the show. I already have too much receiver depth. And in one of my leagues, I'll just give it like Smith, Devontae Smith, Garrett Wilson, Debo Samuel, T. Higgins, among other guys. The
Khalil
problem
Shakir.
is, are you gonna? And he's just the problem. The thing with Khalil Shakir is he's going to get 10 points a game too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of those guys. Even though Amari Cooper's there, he always gets those little dumps. So my problem is, do I look at him as a guy that's going to be in my lineup every week? Maybe not, but it's always good to add him. I probably should have done it. That's great on your part because I know Matt and Parker were mad they didn't get it. But I don't know. I don't think he's going to be some wide receiver 3 or 4. Like he's not going to just shoot up like Amari Cooper and Devontae Adams. But I think he'll probably be a top 20 guy. I could see him finishing top 25. I mean, I don't know where he's at right now, but I can only imagine it's bad.
He ain't very high. No, he's had 2 games, I think, above 10 fantasy points. But honestly, dude, this Tennessee Titans offense has been awful outside of Tony Pollard. You know what I mean? And we'll talk about that game first. We'll talk about Bills Titans this last week. But dude, I saw the text. We had a guy text DeAndre Hopkins I didn't even see the notification for rumors. But immediately as I saw the text, I jumped on the app and I snagged him as quick as I could. Because you never know. You never know. He could be the next league winner. I mean, probably not. But on this offense, with Patrick Mahomes and having a number 1 target guy, it could be good. I mean, I know he's 32, you know what I mean? But if he's anything like a smidgen of the old DeAndre Hopkins, then he's going to be decent, you know? So.
This like really reminds me of when Randy Moss went to the Patriots for that year. And the Patriots they went undefeated. I think they went undefeated or close to it during the regular season, won through the playoffs, and they lost in the Super Bowl. Man, hopefully the same thing happens again. That would make my life. I mean,
they make it all the way and lose.
And make it all the way and lose. But no, they're loaded. They're still the team to beat. Everyone knew it, and then them signing this. Again, though, I've brought this up before. And it's no hate, but Patrick Mahomes, this isn't the fantasy quarterback right now that you were hoping he would be. Now, this will obviously help him in the red zone, having a better guy. But even with Rashee Rice, he wasn't putting up great numbers. And really, Mahomes is throwing a ton of picks this year. But I think this will definitely help. You get better receiver, and you got him for cheap, not cheap. I mean, he's still on a contract, but they can definitely afford it. They're good for it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, their schedule does get easier. I think that's also a good thing to know. They played some tough teams already.
Now, I did pick the Raiders to beat them this week. I know you're thinking, why would you do that, Avery? Well, because our friend Matt, that's not on right now, literally told us when they play the Raiders, the team that you think they're going to be, pick against them. So I picked against them, and we're going to see if it works. We're going to see if it works.
You want to hear my upset for this weekend?
Sure, let's hear it. We're already on.
Real quickly. Browns beat the Ravens.
Browns beat the Ravens?
Beat the Ravens. I got them beating the Ravens. I'm serious. Listen, on the deep ball, Ravens have not guarded it very well. And the only thing that I think Jameis Winston can do well is throw the deep ball. They have a decent defense. Nick Chubb back. They can have a little bit of pace. I think they'll win. I think they'll slip through. Now, I'm not saying the Browns are better or anything like that, but it's just like a feeling in my gut. You know what I mean?
My almost or upset of the week is the Arizona Cardinals aren't favored against the Miami Dolphins. I get Tua is coming back. I get it's there, but I think the Cardinals are just a mediocre team. They got a mid defense, and you're really banking on Tua coming back and just fixing everything. I don't think that's going to happen right off the bat.
No,
I think,
right.
but hey, I'm on it already. The the fan probability picks the Ravens to win 80% and the Browns to win 20. So you're part of the 20%.
I'm there.
One out of five people think the Browns are going to win.
I'm riding, baby. I'm riding.
I'm off that train, but the Ravens are just. I mean, we can just talk about it, but the Ravens are just a juggernaut. I mean, they're just absolutely juggernaut.
We'll talk about their game this last week. And it's hard to stop. It really is. We'll talk about Lamar MVP season again, honestly. All right, so another lab report as we keep moving on here. Chris Godwin. R.I.P. No, he's not dead, obviously, right? But
no, he's not dead.
I do. My pick is dead. My hot take is dead, right? Chris Godwin was going to have a fantastic season, and he has so far, but he's out for the season, right? And I think we've already said it, but Ayuk is also out for the season, I'm pretty sure. But big news, although people probably already know this by the time they're listening to this podcast, Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua are both playing tonight. They're looking pretty decent. I mean, this team needed them to come back. Honestly, this is a new team, and this team is dangerous. Okay, this team is dangerous offensively, especially with these two guys because Kyron Williams is a stud, and now that they've got some receivers that are scary to defenses, it opens up the field so much, and it gives Matthew Stafford time in the pocket just because, I mean, they don't have a good line, but it just gives him time. So big pieces to come back. Tua Tagovailoa, like Avery said, should be coming back this weekend on Monday. Big piece right there. Jaden Daniels is not going to be playing this Sunday. Not fun to hear with the rib. I understand why. I mean, he's a rookie. They're wanting to protect him. I think he's okay. He'll be fine. But another one, Travis Etienne might not play this weekend. Hank Bigsby.
So their coach already said, like, you're not going to lose your job due to an injury. So he's going to get his job back whenever he's healthy. But I don't know. We start off the year now. Tank Bigsby's fine, but the guy behind him, D'Ernest Johnson, is also a really good running back. So the problem is now, not only are you probably going to have a split backfield, you might have a three-way backfield in some ways, which is crazy to say. But you got three quality running backs. Either one of them is going to get dropped and traded, or I don't know how to explain this backfield really. It's just crazy to think about. But yeah, some of those injuries that this sucks. Alex was on track to be right about Chris Godwin. He was, wide receiver 3? He was up there. He was having a great season. And he gets hurt in scrub time. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Yeah. Scrub time. Brandon Ayuk's gone. And really, this is going to be kind of sad to say. I don't know if the guy that was playing Brandon Ayuk isn't better now that he's hurt. Because you were starting a guy every week that was only giving you about 4 points, and the only reason you were starting him is because you picked him in the third round.
Yep.
Just being honest, and that's the reality of it. So, but you still don't want to see anyone get hurt. You got paid the bag. Good holdout for him though. Great holdout for him. I mean, he got paid the bag and
gets to sit on the sideline.
I hate the holdout, but I understand it, and that's why they do it. If you're not going to get paid, I don't know. Sometimes I agree with it. Sometimes I don't. But yeah, good move by him. But it's sad to see. But Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, ballers. I'm telling you, the Rams picked them to win this game. I think they're going to pull it out. I
hope not.
I think they got that dog in them. And so it's just me personally. I'm playing against Cooper Kupp, which is so annoying that he finally comes back and has 10 points already with a quarter to go. And what a great time. But
it's a good team.
Oh yeah, that's what's crazy. They were, I believe, they were 4-6 when they made their playoff run last year to make the playoffs. I think they had been like 6-2 or something. They went crazy, and so they can do that again. Oh yeah, that division with the Rams, Niners, Seahawks, and Cardinals. Those are weak. Not weak, but
Well, now the
they're weak.
49ers are weak.
Yeah, with all their injuries, I would definitely agree with that.
I mean,
And
DK Metcalf
I,
even just had an injury.
yeah, which one guy on our fantasy team has Chris Godwin, Brandon Ayuk, and
And
DK
DK
Metcalf.
Metcalf all in one weekend, man. That's
So
just tough.
sad to see. But yeah, I don't know. A ton of news going around. Injuries suck, but be willing to start picking up guys like Trey Tucker off the Buck squad. Great
Yeah.
pickup because
Sterling Shepard and
Baker Mayfield,
PPR.
Baker Mayfield's on fire. Someone's got to get it. He's throwing the ball to someone. K Don. I don't think K Don's a great pickup, but he could be. And then I don't know if y'all covered it last week. I don't think you did, but man, White crazy. I mean, that's a guy that people were almost I heard people dropping him,
Yep.
and he goes for 20. Same thing as who's on our way. I don't know if y'all talked about who was on our waiver wire last week. Javonte Williams, 24 points on our waiver wire. I just had to sit there and go.
I don't even want to talk about that, to be honest, because I dropped the guy and freaking he wasn't doing anything. So I was like, oh, I can drop him. No worries. 20 points. And I could use him this week. He's playing Carolina. I should have. Oh, it just makes me mad, dude.
Mm-hmm.
But it is what it is. You win some, you lose some. You know what I mean?
Yeah. News report's not bad. Andy Dalton's not starting. Jane Daniels not starting. So
yeah.
Carolina
Bryce
Panthers down.
In.
I still think you play Terry McLaurin, even though Jane Daniels is out. He's still the wide receiver one. Marcus Mariota didn't look bad last week. So
he looks scary. He honestly looks scary.
I mean, he looks better than some of the QBs in the league.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong there. Better than Bryce Young.
They
are playing Chicago.
Hey, if Bryce Young goes out there and proves it this week, maybe everyone takes it back. He's playing Chicago, a tough defense. So if he can go out there and ball, we'll see how it goes. But it ain't looking too good right now.
This is opportunity. Sam Darnold did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was on a Panthers team that had some weapons.
Sam Darnold was on like 4 teams before he broke out. Now, I don't think that's going to happen with him, though. So
Geno Smith and Baker Mayfield, too. I mean, they're kind of – I thought I was watching that before the game. It looked cool. Just how guys turn things around sometimes. Sometimes you just need to change the scenery. That's just true in life in general, you know.
That's true.
I don't know any other – I think that's all for news that I can think of right now in terms of Lab Report. Lots of things going on. I mean, there's trade deadline's not here yet, so anything can happen. I don't know when the trade deadline is necessarily. But things could still happen. People could still get moved around. You know, the Chiefs could get another receiver.
Yeah, according to Matt, they could just pull one out.
Sources say.
Don't know where it's going. Mike Williams, maybe. I don't know what. Trust me, bro. That was a funny thing. This sometimes this get off Twitter, get off Instagram. It's just not worth it. Sometimes just let it happen. Just let it happen. Don't listen to us. Don't listen to all these other people that think they're gurus.
Just tune in.
The real time. We're the real time people right here.
All of our takes have been right. Don't worry. They've all been.
Yeah. Anyone they're wrong, they're pretty much right. I mean, look at Bo Nix. That was our big one, and he's turned it around.
Honestly, the rest of the season, he's going to look good. I'm calling it now.
Oh, yeah. Hands down.
I'm on
Williams, my guy, Kyron Williams, never got him in any of our leagues because he went too early. He's on fire right now. I knew he would. People were down. Sometimes if you're a good player, guess what? Just a good player. You're just a good player. So that is what it is.
He looks good tonight, too.
He does look good. The Vikings had not allowed an 80-yard rusher this year, and Kyron Williams got that pretty easily.
I think second quarter? Is that?
Mm-hmm.
Could be right there. All right.
Yeah, he's nuclear.
I shouldn't have started the Vikings defense. I was just looking at that. Jeez Louise. Okay, anyways. First game from the recap from Week 7. We've got our Bills Mafia versus Tennessee Titans. Man, the Titans were up 10-0. It looked like Mason Rudolph was the answer to the problem, and then they finished with 10, and the Bills had 34. They pulled through. Honestly, on the Titans side, there's not even really much people to touch about. Like, it's just the only thing I want to say about the Titans is, mark my words, I do think it's going to turn around for this team. Honestly, I do think it's in terms of fantasy. Okay, I think Calvin Ridley is going to do better because he is now solidified number one receiver. I mean, sure you have Tyler Boyd, sure you have all these other guys, but you got to get Calvin Ridley the ball. If you're going to pay him the money, you got to throw him the ball. He is a good receiver, so why not give him 6 to 8 to 10 targets a game to try to win you the game? Tony Pollard, I think, will still do fine. Mason Rudolph is an upgrade. I mean, I know he was on the Steelers, so you could kind of say what you think about him because you've seen him play. But I do think he's an upgrade from Will Levis. I don't know if he throws a good deep ball. I haven't watched his tape or anything like that. But he's at least competent. Okay. Will Levis just makes boneheaded decisions. On the Bills side, Ray Davis, dude. He's a guy to be looking out for. If he's out there on that waiver, or you can go pick him up because waivers are done. Go pick him up. The guy's got points, and if James Cook gets any type of injury, you can start this guy in the flex for sure. Amari Cooper comeback game, turned up. Keon Coleman, he is doing what he's doing. So Avery, talk to me about this game a little bit, okay?
I just want to point out, I started off the episode saying, "Oh, look at that, Khalil Shakir, 10 fantasy points even on the dot." Shocker, wow! But that's the thing. You're going to get guys that are role players. Just let them be role players. Like, not everyone on your roster is going to be this. You're not going to have 6 Justin Jeffersons and 4 B. John Robinsons. It's just not how fantasy works. But just let sometimes your role players, if they get 10, sometimes you just gotta be happy with it. So don't go out there expecting a role player to get 20 when you know he's good for 10 every day. Sometimes that's enough for you. That's why you have role players and boom bust guys. So know the difference. That's a big thing. Just wanted to point that out though. I said 10 points. That's Khalil Shakir, 10 points. No more, no less. That's what he gets. Mason Rudolph is not a good quarterback. He did good with Pittsburgh at the end of last year. I don't know how he did it. I really don't. We really didn't have a good team, and somehow we made the playoffs. That was lucky in itself. I don't know. Mason Rudolph's not the answer for the Titans. I really don't think Will Levis is the answer either. But I think Will Levis gives the wide receivers a higher ceiling, I guess. I mean, look at this here. I'm looking at the receptions. Westbrook had he didn't have the most, but he got the touchdown, so he had 8 points. The next was Tyler Boyd, and then the next was Calvin Ridley. And Calvin Ridley had 9 targets, which is crazy. So, and he ended with 5.7. I think Calvin's going to keep getting this 9, but if it's not, and here's the thing, kind of like DeAndre Hopkins had 0.3, what a game, but because he had negative 2 yards. And that's half PPR scoring, though, so take that with a grain of salt. Right. But I think Calvin Ridley's still going to struggle because the quality of targets just ain't there. I was watching, or maybe I was just listening to a podcast or something. Maybe I was listening to the radio. I was doing one of the two, and they were talking. No, I was definitely listening to the radio because living in Tennessee now, you get Tennessee Titans fans.
That's classic. Right.
They said out of Ridley's 8 targets a week ago, only 2 of them were catchable, and he caught them. So what's that saying though? If he gets 9 targets and only 3 of them are catchable, and we all know Calvin Ridley drops a couple. So I don't know. I'm just struggling with it. I still think he's a good player. They paid him. They're going to throw him the ball. Tony Pollard, I think, is still a wide receiver 2. Or no wide receiver. I'm sorry. Running back 2. He's not bad. He's not great, but, hey, you can throw him in there, and he's going to get you some points. We'll cover that game in a minute, and I'll bring him up. Kind of an underrated player right now. But on the other side, you're really disappointed with Dalton Kincaid this year. You're really he's not really done what you wanted. But really, that's Titans in general this year. We thought Titans were going to be the next best thing. You really drafted up on them. But for this guy, he's tight end 12, 6, 8, 4, 7, 11, 5, and 1. I mean,
awful.
For a guy we thought was really going to command targets, just not that good. I got him in Dynasty, and I'm hoping he develops, but we'll see. We were hoping better. Amari Cooper looked good, 4 for 5, 66 and a touchdown in the first game, not knowing the playbook. I think he's a baller. I think if you got him, you got an absolute stud. So I don't know if I'd trade him. I think with Josh Allen, he's going to be the guy.
Yeah.
And then finish it up, 2 things. One, Josh Allen's is a dog. I mean, just a dog. He had 3 points at one point, and I thought, easy win. I was playing against him. And then I look at my phone again, and he has 21. And I thought, where did this come from? What?
Yeah.
He's just a dog. He's just a dog. He's always is. But to point out, this is what I was going to bring up. Ray Davis actually finished with more fantasy points than James Cook. I think this is going to become a split backfield. I think James Cook is still the passing back, but we'll see. Ray Davis was definitely more efficient with what he had, and he had the only reception in the back, or there were 2 receptions, but he had one of the 2 receptions. And Ty Johnson got the other receiving touchdown, which is crazy. So I don't know. The Bills are a hard team to figure out. Really, I'd still start the guys, but man,
I would
nothing
trade
on
James
guys.
Cook
I would too.
if you
I
could.
probably would.
Yeah, I mean, you already did, but I think last year I experienced the James Cook experience, and he did good in fantasy. But until they changed offensive coordinators, it was a split backfield. Latavius Murray took so much away from James Cook, let alone Josh Allen, just because of the uniqueness of who he is as a quarterback. James Cook's value to me
Oh yeah,
goes down because Ray Davis has shown he's a good running back and that he can be used out there. So they're going to start riding him. I think it's like, Devin Singletary was a huge asset in the beginning of the year, but Tyrone Tracy Jr. showed himself to be a good running back, and now it's affected his value. Same thing with Rashad White, although he had a good game this weekend. But Bucky Irvin's going to take some away from that. Tank Bigsby, same thing. So you just want to be careful. And why not sell James Cook while he's kind of like he still could be the number one guy,
Man, I won that trade. James Cook and Marvin Harrison for Garrett Wilson, B. John.
You have
won. Trade. I mean, at first I was nervous about it. It ain't even been close. Not even close. Now that B. John's dropping 20 a game. And I'm still losing. But that's another time. But
1-6, baby. I'm out the trenches.
That's the only league I'm doing bad in, though. That's the only one. All my other leagues I'm doing really well in.
It's hard. That's the league we want to do good in. You know what I mean?
Sometimes fantasy just don't go your way. And this is what it is. Hey, I still got a chance. 12% is better than 6%.
It's 0, bro. Yeah, no, you're right. We're hanging in there by a thread. Both of us.
We are hanging in there by a thread.
Either I'm 2-5. It can all change. Well, for the bad, All right, next game. A game that I don't even know if I want to talk about this game, honestly. But we'll really quickly touch on it because it's a big game for this. It's one of the teams has a big chance this weekend. Colts versus Dolphins. 16-10. Just an awful game. I thought the Dolphins would pull through, and honestly, they probably should have. But Anthony Richardson has been it's underwhelming, right? That's the word?
Yeah.
It's just been awful. He just can't pass an accurate ball. I mean, he has the upside and the big ceiling chance to be a fantastic fantasy value, but he just has not pulled through. And I know they played some tough defenses, they have, but game after game he has just failed, even though through the injuries. So I don't know if he can turn around. So I mean, I want to kind of hear what you think about that. But on the other side, the Dolphins just aren't good without Tua. They have no other options. Snoop Tyler Huntley kind of went out in this game, and they brought in, who is this? Tim Boyle. What is this? Tim? No, Tim Boyle. He didn't do it much better, honestly. And it affects every piece of this Dolphins offense because they have a good offense. Now, Jonnu Smith did cook, but it's only because Tyler Huntley was just tossing. I mean, it was his check down almost, So you'd be surprised. I mean, I'm surprised Devon Achane didn't do it. But this Dolphins team without Tua is irrelevant. The fantasy pieces are just not what you drafted them for, so it sucks. So I'm excited for this weekend for Tyreek Hill, for all of them, just to see how that changes, if it does. But Jonathan Taylor should be coming back this weekend, so this Colts team might look different. So talk to me about what you think about Anthony Richardson. That's the talk of this game.
I think it's going to be quick because I'll just cover Miami real quick. Without Tua, this team's just not good. Also funny, Tim Boyle, when you click on his profile, shows him in a Texans uniform, not even Miami. So that's just that's just beyond my whatever. But yeah, the Dolphins are just bad. I don't think they'll get it together this week, but I think the week after they're really going to explode. I could see that. It's probably going to take a week or two to get back. Not playing football for 5 weeks. Probably going to come out a little rusty. So give them another week, and then I think they're set on fire, back to what they were to start the season. Now, going to the Colts. I knew Trey Sermon wasn't that good, and we saw it this game. Not good. And Tyler Goodson is the new guy. So if you have Trey Sermon, go drop him, pick up Tyler Goodson. That's the backup. But Jonathan Taylor coming back big time. He's a great running back. I like Jonathan Taylor. Anthony Richardson, same goes for the Colts as does the Dolphins. If Anthony Richardson's playing, and it's the opposite though. If Anthony Richardson's playing, this team's awful. You can't start any of these guys. That makes no sense. I think the Colts are really going to have to. This is what's sad, but I think the Colts are going to take this year and let Anthony Richardson work through it, regardless of if it works or not. So they're in. If it works, they're going to keep him. If it don't work, I think they're going to give him the whole year and let him get the experience. Kind of like what I said with Carolina earlier. You're not really in the position, or this is a little bit different though. The Colts are good enough to go to the playoffs and probably win a game, like if they got hot at the right time.
Yeah, they're 4-3.
Yeah, this isn't an awful team. But the problem is you're going to let this quarterback that can't score, you're just wasting a year. Because once you get to the playoffs, you got to put up points. That's just how it goes. You got to put up 30 points a game, and this team just can't do it. I'm not in on Anthony Richardson. I wasn't to start the season. I said I wasn't in on Anthony Richardson. I'm still not in. Like you said, you're starting this week because you have no one else. But if it's up to me, he's a drop candidate. You give him one more week, and if he don't produce this week against the Texans, I don't think anyone's going to pick him up.
Yeah. The first week of the season, Anthony Richardson played the Texans at home, and he had 26 fantasy points. Okay. And the Texans let up some of the most air yards to touchdowns in other defenses. So if Anthony Richardson can't do it this week with Jonathan Taylor back, possibly, and some other pieces, then, I mean, he didn't have Josh Downs, and now he does, possibly this week. And I think he has a questionable coming in. Then Anthony Richardson is a guy that I don't think is going to pan out. He may have some big games just because of his upside, but like I could go right now, drop him for Tua, who's projected for more, drop him for Geno Smith, who's projected for more, drop him for tons of guys that are projected for more this weekend. And it's sad to say, but he just hasn't panned out. So he is a drop candidate for sure. But if he gets it done this week, hold on to him because his ceiling is big. You know, I mean, do you think that's fair?
I think that's a fair way to look at it for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think he's. Yeah, I think you give him one more week. If you don't pan out, he's done. He's washed. So
Sadly.
not washed. He still has years to develop, but it just feels like that already.
He hasn't played a lot of football, you know.
It feels like he just doesn't have it. Like he has the ability to do it, but he just doesn't have it. That's just hard to describe. But
like Bo Nix. No, I understand.
Yeah,
my boy Bo Nix, baby.
Bo knows.
He does. All right, this next game, which was a good game, Vikings versus Lions. Okay, it was a good game. Jared Goff is kind of heating up, looking a little spicy. Honestly, he is. And the Vikings are a good defense. They really are, although they did let a lot score. Okay, Jared Goff, 18 fantasy points. David Montgomery, he did have an injury during this game, but didn't look too. I mean, he just didn't perform this game. But my goodness, Jahmyr God Gibbs, you could even say. 30 fantasy points is insane. If this was a single backfield for either of them, they would be like a top 5 running back, guaranteed, just because of how good this line is and how good this offense is. Amon-Ra St. Brown is again looking like the guy that he should be. I mean, he's a stud. If he gets a touchdown in any game, he's doing good for you because he's going to get the yards and he's going to get the targets. He's just that good. But a guy I really quickly wanted to talk about because I'm a big fan of Sam Laporta. I do like Sam Laporta. He helped me out a lot last year. What the heck's going on? I mean, Jameson Williams is suspended. I guess we didn't talk about that in lab report. He's suspended for a few games, so maybe we see Sam Laporta. But if we don't see Sam Laporta without Jameson Williams, I mean, what is going on? Like, why did he drop down so much? Even target-wise, he had 2 targets in this game, and they could use him. You know, I just don't understand. I mean, what do you think about this?
I think to answer your question, they don't need him though. Like this isn't an offense that needs him. This isn't an offense that really needs anybody besides their running backs and Amon-Ra. Like that's really about it. So, like you said, Jared Goff is heating up. These 2 running backs don't know how they're going to keep it up, but these are 2 elite running backs, and David Montgomery just signed to stay for 2 more years. It's going to keep being a split backfield, so just keep expecting it unless someone gets traded. But I don't see him getting traded because this is working so well for him. Amon-Ra is a dog. But yeah, Sam Laporta, I think the problem is, well, like you say, Jameson Williams getting it, being suspended this for 2 weeks for PEDs. But the problem is Jameson Williams only had one target, one reception, one target. So it's not like he just took the targets away. It's that Tim Patrick and Khalif Raymond are also getting them. So I don't know. It's just a tough one. He's just not part of the game plan right now. And it's crazy, like you say, because they didn't change offense coordinator, same quarterback, same system. They just don't need him right now. And maybe they're saving him for the back half of the season. But I sent a trade for him to start the season, and I'm glad it didn't get accepted because it would have just been a waste. Because he's like all the other tight ends. It's like all the other tight ends. He's just not doing good, and I don't know why, but that's the fact. But just to cover it, Aaron Jones is a dog. Justin Jefferson's a dog.
Yeah.
You're starting the guys. I started Jordan Addison, and he had a red zone target. He just didn't get it completed. You add that on there, it would have been 15. So it's not a bad game. These are guys that you can keep on playing. But, yeah, start the studs. Not much else. These are both two teams that are hot. So if you got them, keep playing them. That would
It's
be my
almost
argument.
a question. What was that?
No, I was just going to say, like, there's no argument. Just play them. Like, these are guys who set it and lock it, and they're going to score probably 20 points a game. So, this is what it is.
They're dogs, dude. It's almost a question of, like, I'm going to sit Sam Laporta because some of these options out here, it's hard to say that. It really is. But some of these options are better. Like Kyle Pitts Kyle Pitts is kind of emerging again, and you've got him, right? Hunter Henry is looking like a decent start. I mean, right now with the way Drake May's giving the ball. Almost, you could say Jonnu Smith from last week. I mean, he had a great game. Kate Otten. It's crazy that that's the scope of fantasy football right now, but it is. And sometimes you got to face it's facts versus feelings. Shout out to Liz Lowe's out there in ESPN, you know. But
you kind of missed one. You might kind of missed a guy that kind of went nuclear last week. Absolutely nuclear. Will Dissly, nuclear last week. He had 20 points. 20 points.
Will Dissly?
Yeah, for the Chargers. You didn't know that? He had 8 receptions.
I did not know that. What the heck?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This guy went absolutely – yeah, shout out Will Dissly. Shout out Will Dissly. That man did not get enough enough clout last week, but he definitely deserved it. The Chargers should have won that game.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Will Dissly. I thought he had a touchdown. He had 12. I thought he scored. They must have called it back or something. But he had 12 point.
But still.
I thought he had the touchdown. I thought it gave him 20, but that's my bad. Still had 12 points. Will Dissly, shout out. Don't get to say that name much, but
probably the only time you will say that name.
Tight ends are time a dozen. Don't go trade for one that's Brock Bowers if you can get him. But
my Lord, I love it. I love that he succeeded. Oh, dude, Georgia Bulldog, baby. We'll talk about him in a second. All right, next game. We're only going to talk about one side because the other side was irrelevant. Philadelphia versus New York Giants. I mean, all I'll say about the Giants side here is Drew Lock got some playing time. That's how bad this was for this team. Okay? Drew Lock. That's crazy. Although Daniel Jones is going to still be the starting quarterback, it's just what do you do with this team? You know what I mean? They have Malik Neighbors. They're going off. On the Eagles side, though, man, Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts looked so good. The only receiver, honestly, the only pass catcher other than running backs that did anything in this game was A.J. Brown. This game was all on the run game with Mr. Barkley and Mr. Hurts, right? He had 25 fantasy points, 176 rushing yards. That is insane. He was 13 yards away from his career high. Kind of crazy. So he had a great game, and Jalen Hurts just popped off. I mean, three touchdowns? Yeah, it's crazy. What do you think about this Eagles team? Devontae Smith, I mean, the scope of him, you know what?
I went to make a trade for Jalen Hurts and haven't heard back on it yet. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
But that trade was a good trade. I think Jalen Hurts is honestly – I know the guy that I'm trying to trade with don't listen to this podcast, so it's not going to matter. He should. He needs the advice. But bald boy, he needs it. But Jalen Hurts, I think, is in for a great back half of the season. I understand his first couple games weren't good because you had Jalen Hurts out. Or not Jalen, you had A.J. Brown out. Number one weapon, and then Devontae Smith goes out with a concussion. Of course, you're not going to look good with your two best receivers out if you're a quarterback. That's just how it works. I mean, what are you expecting? Him to just throw to Dallas Goedert every time? And I don't know. And even Saquon wasn't looking good because they could just stop the run. You knew that's what they were going to do. So I think better days are ahead for the Eagles. Saquon's just insane. He can do what he wants. But they did lose their left tackle this game, Johnson, so we'll see how that goes. Really, AJ Brown is the guy. He's the guy, and I wish I could have got him a little bit because when he plays, he gets the ball. He wants the ball, he gets the ball. Devontae Smith is just second fiddle, which that's just how it is. He's an elite receiver. He could be a one for a team. He was when AJ Brown was out, but he doesn't seems like he doesn't get vocal. He just wants to win games. So if that means he gets 12 receptions and 200 yards, or if that means he gets one reception and 2 yards, as long as they win, he's okay with it. So this was a bad week. I figured I didn't want to start him. I just had that feeling. Wish I would have had that for Deebo Samuel too. But Devontae Smith, this better days are way ahead. He's the guy that's going to get you 10 most weeks. This was a fluke. Everyone has a fluke every now and then. This was just one of those. How did that happen? So that's about it. And the Giants side, I don't know. You can't play either one of these running backs because it's a split.
Yep.
You can't play Daniel Jones because he's just not good. I mean,
just Malik Neighbors.
He hasn't thrown a home touchdown. Daniel Jones hasn't thrown a home touchdown in 6 games. How does that happen? How does that happen?
You should play better at home.
I mean, yeah, how does that happen? And then you scroll down, and if he's bad, then Malik Neighbors ain't going to get the ball. It just is what it is. You're banking on a bad quarterback to get a good receiver the ball. It just is what it is. So I don't know what else you can say. That's about it. This game, that really the Eagles defense got you 16. So
they turned up,
and you still lost. So
I did. Yeah, my dynasty. I'm thinking about not selling, but trying to invest.
No, I think it's about time you start tanking. I was looking at your team, and I just don't. That can be a conversation. We can do that on the next podcast. Look at our teams and evaluate what went wrong so far and what's went right.
So much has gone wrong.
Your team isn't bad. It's just
I know on both sides too is what's crazy. Like my redraft team's not awful. I mean, I have some decent value, but just my matchups have been bad.
I got to trade in the work in the dynasty, and if I get it through, my team's loaded. Mike Evans is going to come back weekend. My team's good. Mike Evans is going to come back week 11 for the playoffs.
Nasty season, huh? I like it. Okay. But don't sleep on Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors still is a value. You're going to start him. I mean, he's going to get the ball. You know what I mean? But the Giants team is just bad. Next game we're going to talk about is Los Angeles Rams, Oakland Raiders. Didn't Aiden O'Connell get hurt in this game?
Yeah, he did. So Gardner Minshew came back in. Aiden O'Connell, I think, has a
broken thumb.
Broken thumb. He's out for 2 to 4 weeks.
Okay, that's what I thought. On my stats here, I don't have Gardner Minshew, so I was just kind of confused. I don't understand why he's not there. So I thought that was interesting. It's just weird. But really the only side of this, well, 2 sides of this, I guess. Alexander Mattison is the lead back of this team. I mean, he's kind of a guy you need to be looking out for. He's on the rise, I would say. But Brock Bowers, baby. 10 for 14, 93 yards. This guy is getting targets. Without Devontae Adams there, he is the guy on this team. Huge fan. Love him. So I'll let you talk about this real quick because, I mean, this game wasn't that exciting either, to be honest. So on the Rams side, there's one guy.
Just a side note, the Rams just beat the Vikings. So let that be known. It ended on a safety. So they ended up sacking them and they had to punt the ball away. Crazy. But away from that, Kyron Williams is a dog. This guy just gets touchdowns. He got another touchdown tonight as well. So this guy's always going to get you a touchdown, which is crazy. But on the other hand, Matthew Stafford, he only had 4 fantasy points, and that's the problem with pocket passers. I love Matthew Stafford, not for fantasy, though. He's just not a fantasy quarterback, even though I think he's great, but not a fantasy quarterback. Yeah, it shows Aiden O'Connell in there. It doesn't really show Gardner Minshew, but I know he played. I don't know why it doesn't show him. That's whatever. And then this was my guy. I think Alexander Madison is in for a good back half of the year. I mean, I know they play the Chiefs this week. That's not a good matchup. It is what it is. But I just think the Raiders have so little weapons that they have to use. They really have to use the guys they got. Like they're down to the scrub. Like not, I shouldn't say scrubs. They're NFL players. But you get what I mean. You get rid of your best receiver. You lost another quarterback. You're gonna have to give the ball to Brock Bowers 20 times. You're going to have to give the ball to Alexander Madison 20 times. And that's exactly what they did. Alexander Madison had 23 carries. Zimmer White had 3. This isn't a competitive backfield. This is Alexander Madison's. And he also gets about a touchdown every game. So this does what he does. So I got him off waiver wires, and if I had to start him, I would. So that's why I'm not too worried. But yeah, Brock Bowers, he's going to end as tight end 1. I don't think George Kittle will. I think it's Brock Bowers because they have to give him the ball. Yep. So that's about all I got for this game.
Rookie of the year?
Oh, he's on pace to beat the. He's on pace to have the yards and reception leader for a rookie right now. He's on pace to beat Puka Nacua, who broke it last year.
No way.
I saw a stat for that. Mm-hmm. And he
was
on pace for it. Yeah, he just got on pace for it because – I mean, he had 14. He was 10 for 14, 10 receptions, 14 targets. If he gets that every game, he's easily going to break it. He had 93 yards. So
his year's been crazy. His year's been insane. I don't even know if I can pull up his stats. I'd try. But I'm a huge fan of Brock Bowers.
I mean, I can get him right. He's the number 2 overall tight end. He's doing pretty well. I can go to his game log. I can pull it up. But
6'9", 3'2", 8, 9, 10 in receptions. So he's definitely on pace. Yeah. 3 games with almost 100 yards as a tight end.
Yeah, he's tight end 5, 4, 15, 22, 2, 7, and 4.
Crazy.
So on the rest of the season, they got Kansas City, who's bad against the tight ends. Cincinnati, who's bad against the tight ends. That's just statistical. I don't even have to look at that because I know because I've played them and my tight ends against them. Then you have Miami, Denver, Kansas City again, bad against their great defense. Are just bad against tight ends because you got to throw it to someone. And it happens to be tight end. Tampa Bay, Atlanta, Jacksonville, New Orleans, LAC.
What a great schedule.
And this guy's easily going to finish as the number 1 guy. So
I agree with you. Well, they got to give it to somebody. And I think Gardner Minshew has rapport with him for sure. And just the way he plays the game with him, He's throwing him the ball. So, huge piece, dude. Huge draft piece. It's one of those it's one of those things that when you draft a guy that late – that nobody else is thinking about and turns out to be good, like Sam Laporta and Puka Nacua last year. It wins you a league. It does. It just wins you a league. It's a piece of it. So it's good to hear from my Georgia Bulldog, Brock Bowers out there. All right. Next game, Commanders versus Panthers. On the Panther side, nothing. Nothing at all. Chuba Hubbard, sure, he had 11 fantasy points. But I want to throw this out there because I almost made a trade for Chuba Hubbard. Just to try to get some, a little bit of depth that could be a guy that's done well. But Jonathan Brooks could play this weekend. It's very likely. It's possible, not likely. And after this week, he's definitely going to be playing. They're going to at least be throwing him in the backfield a little bit to work him in. They may not play him a lot, but he's going to have volume. So it affects Chuba Hubbard. And I think Bryce Young starting at quarterback affects Chuba Hubbard. So honestly, I would say sell high on Chuba Hubbard right now. Because the rest of his season is going to look a little bit different based on who they have at quarterback and based on Jonathan Brooks getting some volume. Because they're going to work him in and try to prepare him for the future. He's their future, essentially. That's why they drafted him. So, I mean, you kind of speak to that too because I want to know what you think about that. But that's kind of my opinion as I looked at it today. On the Commander side, Marcus Mariota looked good. I know he's playing this Carolina's Panthers defense, but to come in and function properly as a backup, I mean, he's a veteran, but he did good. Terry McLaurin got the ball quite a bit, and Zach Ertz was a piece of this that I thought was interesting. That's a guy that if Marcus Mariota's out there, I think he does favor tight ends, although it didn't seem like that at Atlanta. Anyways, but Brian Robinson is a guy that is a solid running back this year. A guy's back from injury. He missed a week, and he's a guy you can be starting. So I don't know about Chicago, but yeah, so talk about these two teams with me real quick.
I can just be quick with you.
Yeah.
The Panthers are they're just not good. It just is what it is. I have Deontay Johnson in Dynasty. I'm really hoping he gets traded at the deadline. He's not really happy being there,
Yeah.
but I don't know who they would trade him to. Kansas City just got Hopkins, so they're not going to have the cap space. That's who I thought they were going to go get, but they don't have the cap space to do it. Um, I but
Where can he go?
I don't know. Panthers
Tampa
are just
Bay. I
bad.
have heard Tampa Bay is
Come
kind
on
of.
back. Come on back to Pittsburgh. I mean, why not? We got Russell Wilson throwing the ball. Nah, he's done in Pittsburgh, but it would be funny. You see funny
Ooh.
stuff like that happen sometimes. It's just
Yeah.
comical. It'd be comical if we traded him for a fourth rounder, and like I think we traded him away and got a first or a second rounder back. And it'd be funny if we traded to go get him for like a fourth rounder, and it's
Value.
be kind of funny. But no, we're not going to take him back. This team's just not good though. And it's hard to say. Chuba Hubbard's not a bad running back though. They're going to come bring in this new rookie, but Chuba's really not been bad. So I
He has
don't know.
number 10, running back 10.
I don't think they needed to draft a running back. Same thing with Bijan and oh boy in the backfield, Tyler Algier. It's just you really didn't need a running back. You drafted it because of where it was like value wise in the draft. Kind of like the Raiders drafted Brock Bowers. You already had a decent tight end.
Yeah.
That's worked out for them. But it's going to end up being a split backfield because you got two good running backs. Not my favorite thing. Moving over to the Commander side, this is what we were afraid of. Jane Daniels taking one too many shots. He's just skinny. I think he's small. I could see him being like Lamar Jackson this first couple years, taking some shots that are unnecessary until he learns. He's just got to slide. You get the first down, just slide, whatever. You'll live to fight another day. No point in quarterback. You're the most important part of the team. So yeah, you could break a run for 50 yards. That's easy for me to say, but if you're the key piece if you're the key cog to the machine, you can't get hurt. That just hurts your whole team. Keep playing. Brian Robinson Jr. looks great. Keep playing him. Keep playing Eckler as a flex if you have him. He's an RB3 flex guy. And then I don't know. Keep playing Terry McLaurin. He's a wide receiver 1 right now. I think he's going to keep being a wide receiver 1. So
yeah. Oh yeah.
Keep playing the guys. Carolina's just bad. They're going to start Bryce Young next. This wasn't a fun matchup. This was a murder.
It wasn't. I was watching the Red Zone on Sunday and got pieces of this game, and it was mid. I mean, it was good to see Marcus Mariota ball out, but the Panthers looked so bad, and Andy Dalton he couldn't do it. And I had Deontay Johnson starting, so it was a hard game to watch for me. And it was bad.
Man, I might as well start a betting with Avery segment. I mean, easy win. Easy win. I knew the Rams were going to cover. I knew it was going to go over on the points.
Prize picks with Avery Roden. We might have to. Start that segment.
That's some DraftKings right there. I'm up 100. I'm up between college football and NFL. I'm up like $175.
Okay. You know what? This weekend, I think we'll be back Saturday. So come with some prize picks for us, Avery.
Throw in a little NBA here. Get this. I like the really good people. I had all the best people 20 plus points. Everyone hit. You know who didn't hit? Steph Curry. Steph Curry didn't.
I was gonna say it, dude. I was gonna say
he got 17. Man, but NBA's back. Just a little shout out. We're not big. I mean, we watch NBA. We're not super big NBA guys, but we like watching basketball. I like watching good ball. Good ball is good ball, if you know what I mean. So
Hooper's hoop.
But this little shout out. NBA season start. We'll probably bring it up throughout the year. Something like little tidbits or something. LeBron and his son got to play. That was cool. I watched that live. I mean, I watched it through the TV, but I watched it live. It was cool. It's cool because that's not something that's going to happen again, probably. LeBron's just a freak of nature. Most people don't play till they're 42, so.
It's honestly crazy.
Most people don't play good while they're in their 40s. Let's just say that. My dad turned 50. I don't even remember him. I don't know. It's just the fact that LeBron can still dunk and is playing the top level guys. And this is kind of side note to the NFL. We all like going, I could have done that. Sometimes you could have, yes. Sometimes you could. Bronny got one rebound. He just had to sit there and go and watch it fall in his lap. Anyone can do that. But to watch these guys, professional athletes, go out there every day, pretty awesome. I mean, these are guys that massive human beings, not small. They're definitely the top 0.01% in the world.
Oh yeah, I think of like Justin Jefferson. There's nobody that could do what he does at this level. at all.
Did you see? You didn't see the catch tonight? Right before half, this dude Justin Jefferson makes catches on the sideline. I was like, no way he caught that ball. Sure enough, not only did he get 2 feet in bounds, he got 3 feet in bounds. And I was sitting there going, this guy's insane. This guy, I think you could throw this guy. I don't even know. I don't even know a good analogy. Like, he's just crazy. Just you could throw him on a tightrope across the Empire State Building, and he would somehow walk across it with ease. Just tiptoe it. This guy's just crazy. And those
In the
are
bread
guys like
basket.
that all across the league. But yeah, Justin Jefferson's special.
I'm a big fan of Jay Jetta. The Jets. Mr.
Mm.
Jets.
Mm.
Speaking of the Jets, Avery, this is going to be the game. This is the highlight.
Man, you already know.
Here. Boys.
Man, you gotta get the towel. Gotta get the towel going.
I know you can't hear it, but maybe you can. It's the terrible towel waving through the air. The Steelers win against the Jets. Broncos Nation? What's that? Steelers Nation, let's ride. Am I right? Russell Wilson, man, what a guy. Turned up. First half looked atrocious. The text coming in for Avery was, get this guy off the field. And he regretted it in the second half. So I'm just going to throw this straight to Avery because this is your time to shine, to talk about your boys.
Let me tell you about the boys. Pittsburgh might not be winning the Super Bowl this year, but we are going to end somebody's season in the playoffs. We're going to walk in there. Chiefs. Someone's going to look at us, and we're going to win the game. No, Chiefs are going to be the 1 seed. But anyway, we're going to win. We're going to beat somebody that we're not supposed to. The Steelers are pretty good. I was hesitant on Russ. Let's take it a step back. This defense for the Jets hasn't been as good since Saleh got fired, and we're playing the Giants this week. So, I mean, come on now. But Russell Wilson at one point was the QB1 in fantasy at the end of Sunday night. And then obviously Lamar and Baker and them throw for 40 points or whatever. They just went nuclear. But Russell Wilson had a good game. And Najee Harris had a good game because the pass game was open. These Steelers, I'm trying to keep it quick because I know we're close on time. But these Steelers could be dangerous. I think George Pickens is going to have much better receiving yards now, solely because Russell Wilson is a guy. You saw with Cortland Sutton, he's like, if you're a good receiver, I'm going to throw the ball up to you, and whatever you do with it is what you do with it. Like, if you can go up there and make the one-hand catch, go do it. And we know George Pickens is the guy to do that.
He's the best at that, yeah.
That's what drove me crazy with Justin Fields is he just wouldn't throw the deep ball. And it's just, dude, throw the ball. Sometimes we just got done playing intramural football. And side note, our QB would not throw the ball sometimes. It's like, dude, just chunk that thing up there. Like, you have to give your receivers a chance sometimes. But that drives me insane. But I'm really happy with the way the Steelers played. Defense is always going to be a top 10 defense for the season. They might get burnt 1 or 2 games, but that's going to happen when you have to play the Ravens and the Bengals twice, and the Chiefs and the Eagles. So it's a hard slate to back out. Got to beat the Giants this week. But I'm talking about now. Steelers look good. I'm happy with it. They're getting a little bit more respect than what they were getting, so we'll see how it goes. But if Najee keeps running this good, we had a trade in our other league. Looks like a great trade. Picking up Najee.
Fantastic trade, yeah.
I'm not high on picking up players on my own team just because I don't want to deal with the anger if we lose or they play bad. But man, that was a great trade. And if I would have known I could have got him for dirt cheap, I'd have sent him anyone for it.
I would send him a bag of rocks too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for what he got picked up for. But which then again, he traded for Jawan Jennings, who's not going to be the wide receiver 2 out there. So maybe he knew something. But at the time, it was a bad trade. It was a bad trade, Lab Rats. It was Jawan Jennings after Debo and them came back for Najee Harris, and I was like, what are we doing here? But go for dirt. And then on the other side, the Jets, they'll get it together, but I think it's going to be too late. I think it's too late for them. 2-5. You're just – is it one? No, it's 2-5. 2-4.
They're 2-5. Yep.
2-5. Yeah, that's what I thought. I looked at that, but it's just too late. Garrett Wilson is going to keep getting 10 points a game. Devontae Smith is going to take some of the targets, but Garrett Wilson's too good to go away. I don't think he's going to have 20-point games like ceilings anymore, like he could have. But I think 10-point floor is what you're going to get out of him. I'm not expect. I have him in one league. I'm not expecting him to get 25 points a game anymore. But if he gets 10, I mean, he's going to get 10 targets, and if he catches 8 of them and 1 touchdown, it's 15 points, and you're happy with it. But Devontae Adams is going to have him a good game. Maybe Aaron Rodgers kind of buns. He's over. But that's what I got to say about that game. Steelers players are on the rise. Pat Freiermuth is on the rise. Darnell Washington catching balls left and right. I mean, he's not a tight end you can pick up, but
That's right, dude. Georgia Bulldog, Darnell Washington, baby. Huge fan. Huge fan.
The Jets, Brees Hall finally got it together, though. I got to give him that. And he probably should have had more, but he was just gassed. And on a side note, Brandon Allen you can drop, but man, if Brees Hall gets hurt, what a great handcuff. You almost have to pick him up if you're a Brees Hall manager.
Oh, yeah. He's going to be good at some point, especially, depending on what happens with Brees Hall. But real quickly, we got 2 more games left, and these games will one of them will be easy to talk about. But Aaron Rodgers is not looking too hot. To have the weapons that he has and not really perform, and honestly, still a good defense. Like, it's not like this defense needs to be slept on. They're decent. I'm just like, what the heck? They had a better record with Zach Wilson. We talked about that last part a little bit. It's just crazy. So I just don't understand. They got to turn around, or they're not going to do anything. I mean, if they can't do it with this team, I don't know when they'll be able to do it. You know what I mean? All right, Ravens slaughtered the Buccaneers. My goodness, and my boy Chris Godwin went down. The highlight of this, there's a lot of highlights of this game. My lord, Bucky Irvin 8, Rashad White 8. Rashad Bateman 8, which I was frustrating because I wanted Zay Flowers to do well. Derrick Henry feasted again. This man is insane. To be doing what he's doing at this age is just, as a running back, is crazy. The man's one of the best. I mean, one of the best for sure. And Mark Andrews is a guy that's finally starting to turn things around. I mean, it was like 1 fantasy point, 2 fantasy points, and now back-to-back games he's had some touchdowns, and this game he had 2 touchdowns. So I think the Ravens are just now kind of clicking in gear offensively, and they're just going to keep steamrolling people. I mean, honestly. Although I'm praying the Browns. That's my pick. The Browns upset the Ravens this weekend. But yeah, the Ravens are crazy, and I love that Baker's baking out there. So, well, I mean, what do you want to say about this game?
Just being quick, it just sucks. Chris Godwin got hurt when he shouldn't have been in the game. And I get people are like, you only have 53 spots. Yeah, but you take your best players out of the game. It's 43 seconds. You're down 10 points. You're on your side of the field. Just run the ball. Just call it. You're not going to – you had no timeouts. Just bad coaching, in my opinion. So that just sucks, though. Keep going. I don't think Baker Mayfield's going to be able to keep it up with the guys he has. I mean, you just lost Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Yeah. It's just not going to happen. So you're probably going to have to drop Baker Mayfield and go pick up someone. If you're relying on him, keep him. Maybe play him 1 more week to see what happens. But you're going to want to pick up someone else because I just don't think he's going to be able to keep it up. Because you can't just dump off every time and hope it happens. Same thing, though. The running backs are probably going to take a tick down because if the passing game goes down, well, guess what? Then defenses are going to just hammer your run. So look for the running backs to go down for a couple weeks till Mike Evans gets back. And the Ravens are just nuclear. I mean, they're just nuclear. Names to pick up, McMillan, Palmer, Shepard, not Joshua Palmer, Trey Palmer. This little FYI, not Joshua Palmer, Trey Palmer. But Joshua Palmer should be doing much better.
He should be.
Side note, Justin Herbert, next game, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But I can just say that nuclear. The Ravens are going nuclear. They are literally a buzzsaw. And they were they were literally an inch away from beating the Chiefs. Well, they were going for 2, so that would have been nice to see. But they would have tied it. And then they literally melted down against the Raiders. This is a Super Bowl contending team, and them and the Chiefs are going to meet in the I'll be shocked if they don't meet in the AFC playoffs for the AFC Championship. But yeah, Zay Flowers I told you ahead of time, this offense is so random that it's hard to start Zay Flowers. This is kind of like before Wilson came in, it was hard to start George Pickens. It's hard to start Zay Flowers right now. Even though long-term he's going to be good, I think. If Mark Andrews starts coming back and balling, just call it quits because you just don't know who's going to get the ball. So,
yeah.
But that's about it for that. Lamar Jackson went nuclear. Man, don't we look stupid passing on him at the beginning, end of the third, beginning of the fourth?
Touchdowns.
I mean, let me just. It's not pulling it up. But I guarantee this guy's game log. Oh, listen, 5, 9, 4, 6, 3, 1, 12. He's had 1 week outside the top 10, and that's when everyone went nuclear. I mean, he still put up 20 against Washington. So,
Yeah.
and he was QB 12.
I could have drafted this guy over Anthony Richardson.
Oh yeah, don't we look stupid? And Baker
Yep.
Mayfield's been balling, but we can go to the next game. Derrick Henry's insane, just insane.
We look stupid where we drafted him.
Well, he got
But it is what it is. You live and you learn. I mean, this is fantasy football for you.
Luckily for me, I didn't have a chance to take him. He got taken before I could take him, so it makes me feel better about myself. So
right. That you didn't fumble the bag, at least, right?
Yeah, that I didn't fumble that bag. I just fumbled the bag drafting Christian McCaffrey, who I guess didn't get. Somehow he just had blood clots in his calves, and they just decided not to say anything about it. Same thing with Deebo Samuel not playing with this illness. They knew he had it before the game.
He was sick, man.
I'm getting absolutely. The Niners not reporting injuries is absolutely beating me up this year. I mean, just beating me up. All right, let's go to this last game. What we got?
Avery's on the struggle bus, so be in prayer for him. He needs it. He needs it. All right, last game. Who is this Tune guy? I didn't even the backup quarterback got some work. I mean, what is this? Got some runs.
Plain Tune. What does it say he ended with? I'm not on that game. What does it say he ended with?
0.2 fantasy points, 3 carries for 2 yards.
That's because they put him in on QB sneaks instead of Kyler Murray. They QB sneaked it twice last night, or that was Monday night, and they got it neither time. So what's the point of switching quarterbacks if you can't get it with either guy?
But imagine being that guy.
Yeah, well, also imagine being a defense and you're like, I wonder if they're going to QB sneak it for real. And then you see Plain Tune come in and you're like, oh, I know they're QB sneaking it because this guy hasn't thrown a pass in 2 years.
Yeah.
Surprise. It's like, what? Guess what's happening? And they stopped
sneaking it. Well, that's why they stopped it. Other than that, though, you're disappointed where you drafted Marvin Harrison. There's no doubt. You just are. He just is not. I don't know what's going on. I really don't. I don't know if it's Kyler, their connection. I just don't know. I don't know if it's the play calling. It's just weird. But this Charger defense is pretty decent. It's not a bad defense. And Kyler Murray had 20 fantasy points. James Conner, he's healthy. He's going to do well. That's just how this is. And I mean, he's a good back. He did well this game. On the other side here, J.K. Dobbins, I'm surprised he didn't have more yards on the ground, really. 14 carries, 40 yards. He's still a guy. I mean, he's going to pop off this weekend. I know they have a good matchup. But these are two teams that are just sad. Like, they're going to be close games. Or they're all offense because their defense aren't good. The Chargers just run the ball. So this was a game that was just kind of like, nobody really tuned into it. I mean, you could watch either the Ravens Buccaneers or this game. Who were they watching? Ravens Buccaneers.
I'll say real quick, though, Justin Herbert threw for 350 yards and they didn't score a touchdown, which is insane. How do you throw for 300? The problem was you had guys like, who was it? Jalen Reagor, who had a 41-yard catch and fumbled out of the back of the end zone. So that was one way. And then they just got stopped for field goals. Just saying, though, Josh Palmer, 4 for 5, 830 win. When my boy got to throw the ball. I'm telling you, Josh Palmer wasn't a bad pick this year. It's just I thought they were going to throw the ball more than what – I thought they were going to throw the ball more, but they have become a run team. I thought that transition wasn't going to happen this year. I thought it'd be more next year because they don't have the O-line, but boy, was I wrong. But I'm still a big Josh Palmer guy. I think he's a good receiver. They're just not using him. But yeah, Justin Herbert's a good QB. Kyler Murray had a good week, which we needed to see because it was starting to get a little worrisome there. I don't know who they have as Kyler Murray's picture right now on Sleeper, but that's a pretty funny picture if you click on his name. Don't know who that is. It's some bald guy. He's QB7, though. He's in his 15-1-17, 5-5, and then 25-24. So it's almost like you want to play Kyler Murray every other game, which is crazy, but it's almost true right now. So I don't know how that works. James Conner's nuclear.
Yeah.
If you picked him up, there's a good chance they extend him another year because Trey Benson hasn't got any work, and the backup running backs just don't look great right now. Other than that, Marv, I'm glad I got rid of him when I did. I think he'll be a good receiver in the NFL, just not right now. Him and Kyler just ain't got it working, and that's it. I mean, that's about it for that game. But, yeah, Justin Herbert turns a couple of those into touchdowns, and he's good.
And he's
Herbert's
had
a
a
good
good week.
quarterback. He's injured and they don't let him throw the ball, and he has no receivers besides Ladd McConkey to throw the ball to. And Ladd McConkey's not a deep threat guy. He's a work the middle, get you a first down type. He's an Evan Ingram.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
short.
Destroys zone coverage like crazy is what he does. Did it for Georgia. Motion and then kill a defense. Kind of like a Cooper Kupp, but not as lateral. Vertical. I mean. But it is what it is. It was a good weekend of football, honestly. It wasn't bad. It was kind of exciting. Some exciting games, some good games. But this weekend, there's some good matchups coming up. Browns versus Ravens. Might just see an upset. It might happen, boys. I'm calling it. But hey, you know what? The Chiefs got a dub. The Steelers got a dub. The Georgia Bulldogs got a dub. Horns down, baby. We beat them.
I knew the Dogs were going to win. That was easy.
Carson Beck is just a goofball, dude. As a quarterback, he's just weird. I don't know if I'm not. He's not going to win us a championship this year.
I think this quarterback class. I think this whole draft class is this booty cheeks. That's just a nice way to put it. I just don't think there are good people in this draft class. QBs aren't good. The running backs might be good, but running backs are a dime a dozen.
Man, was Ashton Jeffries that his name? Dude, my goodness. Talk about a guy to draft.
Man, after the season, we'll talk about future prospects, and he's probably number one. Him and Travis Hunter are number one and number two. It ain't even close.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Some
QBs.
studs.
I really hope Pittsburgh does not draft one of these QBs in this class. It is not a good class.
There's some decent receivers out there. The receiver from Mizzou. Yeah, what's his name? Oh, I can't remember his name, but he's a stud.
Luther Burden the third. Yeah.
Yeah, that boy's a dog. So there's some guys out there, but I mean, Alabama's
too early to be focusing on next year. We're still in this year right now for fantasy football. We're still right now.
We're in the trenches, baby. We're in the
12% chance. What's your chance? What is it, like 20 even?
I think it's like
20% chance.
It might be 20 to 40.
I think no, it's not 40. I think he went up to like 25.
40. Faith, baby.
40 means no way. I think someone's 3-3 and they're not 40 or whatever it is. But hey, we're still a chance is a chance. That's all I'm asking for. I'm only asking for a chance. That's all I need.
Just a prayer. And Aaron Rodgers Hail Mary. That's all I need.
And it works. But yep.
It does work. But that leaves us with our episode of Takeology. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you got this far. Please, you can find us on Spotify, subscribe on YouTube, and we will be back here on Saturday with some more football talk. We'll give you some hot starts, and we'll talk about tonight's game. So thank you again for joining in Takeology. Have a great rest of your week. Peace out.